Radio check, radio check. And work is in the AO. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Glad you can join us today for another round of Motorsport Manager. I'll be honest with you, I have totally forgotten how to play this game. I mean, we've only been out from it for like, what, 2 weeks maybe? But getting a little too focused on the strategy games we were playing a couple of streams for over a couple of streams has kind of gotten me off track with the roads here with Team Watson Industries. Well, I had to do a couple of reviews before I had to start the stream. But we're already here now. Kind of hit the start streaming early a bit. Whatever. Gonna be helpful. Oh, okay. Anyway, sorry about that. Got distracted with something in my feed. Bit of an update thanks to the recap I did for myself. We managed to start the 2028 season with a pretty decent run. We're currently top of the standings in both manufacturers and drivers championships, but it's a very, very narrow lead. And as you might remember from the old rules, points only go to top 6, which is a bit of a hard fight as we are currently underpowered, even though we're supposedly the top car in the league. Our HQ doesn't really have a lot of performance so far, as you can clearly see here. We're currently 7th best as far as performance buildings are concerned. It's because we haven't got all of the performance buildings, which includes Brake R&D, Simulator, and Wind Tunnel. We currently have a forecasting center ready to go in 12 weeks, so that's 3 months from now. A couple more races after that. I'm deciding whether or not to get an upgrade after that, or probably get a new building first. Thanks to the fact that we now have a road car factory over here, money is a bit more secured since we get 1,250,000. Wait, what is it in euros? The heck? Huh? Why is this listed in euros? Let's be confused. Where's my car HQ? Income. I think it's confused because I do play the game. I did play the game sometimes in the background, but I have a separate save, and that one is running on euros. I guess this will come back to dollars eventually. Hang on a second. Let me just check something real quick. Let me just unview this. I need to double check if I had my settings right. It's still there, I think. It'll probably auto-correct itself once we go back into the roads. Hmm. Alright. Okay. Where were we? So nothing doing about that, I'm afraid. We'll just have to go ahead. We got 14 days until the Dubai Grand Prix, which unfortunately is going to be a speed boost run. And even though we got the best engine on set right now, I'm still not confident we can actually do a lot with it. Still building stuff up. Might upgrade the test track first. And also, a bit of a reminder, we are going to ask not to be promoted if we ever reach the top of the standings at the end of this season, because I'm still not prepared and my parts aren't exactly up to snuff. Probably, once we're definitely driving with better parts, we'll go ahead and go up to the top. Then we'll work with that from that. From there, I might also be looking at replacing my mechanics and a pit crew if things go according to plan. But by the looks of it, I think our team's pretty much there right now. I just need to get them up and running. Bollock? Bollock's retiring? Seriously? Didn't we just fight Bollock before? She's already planning retirement even though she's only 33. She moved to Oakham. Oh, it's I think this is a different Bollock. She was driving with Oakham for most of her season as a main, but she hasn't won anything for the last 5 seasons. She hasn't won much after her stint with Vittorio Corsa back in 2020. Things don't seem to be too good with her right now. Okay, let's go ahead. Race management still pretty low, mostly because we had a lot of trouble in 2027. Bit of a hang up on that. We still have to worry about the fact that we're dealing with the ERS in this series. I'm still very bad when it comes to handling that setup. So here's hoping we can actually go ahead with things running better in Dubai. Okay. Parts improvement. The new engine will be almost done in a couple. Probably allocate some reliability staff on that as well. Then we can probably, yeah, move him up a bit. Parts. The next engine updated will be ready in 7 days. That's a week. Not enough time for performance. It should be enough time to get them up to snuff. Right, they're going to join the performance team now. It's 3 days before the race, good enough. What else is on the news? I did get a touch of the South African race circuit in my personal save. It's a pretty decent speed track, but the tire wear is atrocious, and considering we're using low-profile tires now, durability will be an issue. There's also a lot of curves and turns, which can also kill the brakes and the suspension. Yeah, that's what we got. 20 laps. We can do a one-stop race if we're good. I didn't have a lot of luck with this one in my personal race, in my personal set so far, because mostly of since it's an early career mode, a lot of the parts were still garbage. So soft and medium, which means we're going for durability as is the usual. Yes, I know our pit crew isn't exactly top of the line, but they're doing their best. I think they're doing well so far, even though we could use a bit better pit crew, really. Okay, where are we going next? The gossip in Dubai. Judovic is still at the top of the standings. Apparently, McNamara, former driver David McNamara, is expecting a change in seedings after Dubai. Gansler doesn't seem to have the chance for that. Usually when they say things like that, things change a lot. Which I don't need right now because Perez might be on her way out, and I'm going to need somebody who is much more durable. Can last longer, still has a lot of potential, but currently in need of marketing boosts, and I'm talking about Judovic here. Judovic has a lot of strengths as far as a driver is concerned, but her marketing is garbage, and that's not helping our funding lines, really. She's 22, though, so there's a lot of growth there, which is why I want to invest in her as much as possible, and which is why I need her marketing boost to be increased. Fortunately, though, it seems like we're going to be struggling this weekend. I hate the Mad Libs things for this one. Like the first and second paragraph show that Judovic will probably stay on first, and then the third says that the track is not favorable for our team, and then it's still Judovic who's saying it's not going to be easy, and that's pretty funny. Yeah, concerning investments, I know what you mean, Chairman. I am not in the mood for that right now. Right. New engine is complete. Let's see what we've got. Check out the car. I can't use that right now. It's only at 50% reliability, so I don't wanna. Whoops. Later then. Gonna add this after the race, which is in 3. See how that goes. Currently the most powerful in performance at 737, pretty much overshadowing all of our engines here, which I think is a good thing. I mean, the factory staff are idle. That was quick. Then bring up the performance again. Let's see if that will be something. Is it time? Is it time to make illegal parts this early in the race? I guess it is. This one, not really useful. Reliability doesn't carry over, as we know, so even with the illegal risk boost, not gonna work. Just have to use these. Top speeds as top speed minus 20, top speed 480. Can't get an extra part, I'm afraid. So I still do not have a test track at level 2. Can't really do much with that. $780 or $775? Well, reliability isn't much, so we'll go with this. Be annoyed I can't get this yet. Not too worried about the investment, thankfully. Do it. Why does it still say euros? I'm driving with... finances... Why is it saying euros? My settings. This is... game settings... Finances... Dollars it is. Go to 30. Ah, so it was in it was in dollars, it just showed euros. Dang it. I'll have to check something real quick. Give me a second. Oh wait, let me just save this. Oh well. Let me double check if some of these would actually change up. That wasn't what I had in mind. Dang it. Let me just... I'm still confused how saves work when you're using different saves and different currencies in this game. I feel like there is a bit of a gap there that they might need to change once the mainline update drops in a couple of months, maybe. The beta ended like a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't check anything. Okay, doesn't seem like there's anything there. Just Give me a second, coming back into the main line now. You think they're going to add rallying in Motorsport Manager? I mean, the mechanics for rallying are very, very different from the circuit racing in Motorsport Manager. But can you imagine if you can be a rally team manager instead? Like, either it's rally raid or the usual time trial rally stuff. Oh, there you are. It's kind of interesting to me how different rally management works compared to the usual road racing stuff because of all the different needs, especially if we're talking about the infamous Group B era. All the crazy automotive personal developments you can get, requirements of the parts. I've only got 2 voting power. I'm pretty much ambivalent on voting for Cape Town, really. Clearly, I don't really have a burden in this race, mostly. I can go along with them both, so I think I'm going to save my voting power for something else. Let's skip, and it's approved. Oof, nobody had extra voting power in the against votes, though. Pretty sure Ernie is going to vote for if I did choose to vote against. I can tell this Baldy had it in him to actually vote to add Cape Town into the line. And now we are in Dubai. Not very confident about this. Are you back to Euros again? Oh yeah, I did click to bring it back to Euros. Well, whatever. Things are still buggy, I'll just bring it back to dollars afterwards. Let's save it here as a matter of course. Now I've learned not to click save, but only clicking save as, because if I click save, it usually overwrites stuff. I had to log into my cloud saves file just to get the cloud save for my personal Motorsport Manager career from the cloud, which around that time was still not synchronized with my local save, which was a good thing. Because if it was, I would have gone and lost all my progress in that. I'm not too confident I'm gonna get the second or above line again. But I might be. At least we did save, just in case. Best car ever. Dude, your engine is much better than hers. What the heck are you complaining about? Anyway, let's get down to business and drive into Dubai. So, what I remember is a rear spoiler and the suspension itself. Running over that bridge is going to be a pain. Let's see. 12 minutes of practice. Ideally, not getting a lot of stuff for your feedback here. Ugh. Expected form is 1. That's not a good sign at all. Get that speed up. Increase the hardness. Get some arrows there. Switch over to mediums, and away we go. Just a slight nudge near the edge there, and then we'll get the arrows a bit up. Switch to mediums. very least, they can both last. They can both make their tires last at least once, or at least for one stop. So I think we're good. Is that right? Okay, run 4 laps. 15 to 17, we're good. Just one stop, and one refuel. So one stop for refuel and tires. Now let's speed it up a bit so I can move into the race itself as needs be. Doesn't seem like they have any problems with it for now. Now our current the current driver we need to watch out for is Gansler, is really doing things for Firebird. With Firebird in the lane up, they're really gonna push things to the limit now. Gearing seems just right here. I don't see any major changes in setup knowledge, despite the gearing being nice, which is a bad thing. Oh, Drudovic got fastest sector for Sector 1 there. I think that's going to change as soon as Gansler gets in the timesheets, though. Oh, it's Beyond who gets one first. Arrow's setup seems to be okay so far. Nope. Gansler is only in greens. Looks like Beyond's going to be it. Carlson there. Dropping down to second. Drudovic is now in third. Aria Leonet's on top. Drudovic is now in fourth, with Beyond grabbing second. Elegard seems to be in a good spot as well. And there's Gansler. I was expecting that. 900ths of a second ahead of Aria Leonet. And now there's Elegard, boosting herself up to first. Aria Leonet getting back into it with just a 600th of a second difference with Elegard. Drudovic, meanwhile, not exactly doing hot so far, despite being race leader. Dropping down to sixth. But considering that both of our drivers are using mediums and they're still in the top 7, it's actually very, very good. Very good sign all around. We just need them to get there and get better. Now there's Drudovic jumping up to first. Looks like she's starting to warm up. Tire wear is a bit of an issue though. Aria Leonet seems to be making her tires way hotter, way faster than Drudovic. Aria Leonet. Oh no, not Drudovic, yeah. Drudovic is still on top. Aria Leonet now up to third. Elegard stuck between them with a 0.2 of a second difference from Drudovic. Coming up for the end of this stint. Drudovic still on top, but failing to break her 1 minute 47.55 record from earlier. So did Aria Leonet. Gonna have to change the notes up a bit. I feel like we're going to be switching out the speed and the arrows. But they're already at race active knowledge level 3 at least. Just need them to get it. Okay, so Drudovic has problems with her engine, or rather with her gearings. Might have to cut that a bit. Or probably increase it slightly. Stints just saying keep the same set of tires. Aria Leonet needs the handling to be a bit responsive, I think. Let's see if this changes anything. All in all, though, I think they have a pretty good setup, both of them. We might have a good weekend here. Let's hope that's the case. I'm not really hoping for a crash or anything. There it is. Let's see if the feedback's gonna be okay. First and third, not bad. Not bad for practice. Now let's see if that actually converts to something in the actual race. Ooh, handling feels much better. Speed balance also worked. Good setup from the mechanics there. And now Leonet is at double purple. Pretty nice practice run there. Elegard couldn't even use her softs after getting into the pit lane. Really good stop for Drudovic. Let's see if that actually converts to something. Where did Gansler go? He was pretty much going hot for the first half of the practice run. Looks like he dropped to 5th with a 0.3 of a second difference from Judovic here. Jan was also pretty hot in practice, went down to 4th. But then that's suddenly jumping over Carlson to get 6th to round out the top 6 for practice sheets today in Dubai. Concliffe not exactly having a good day, though. Doesn't seem like she'll be running really well today, or rather, really well on race day. That was a supporter for Concliffe, though, so that's going to be nice. No qualifying. We don't have any qualifying in the ERS, thank goodness. Can't really do much with qualifying until I can fix my tires and brakes. Okay, so it's race trim and medium tires as is the usual. Perez will also have to go with race trim and mediums. Need better performance on those those parts. Now it's going to be 11-12. 10-11 might be, since it looks like Judovic can actually... Hang on a second. Let me just try something I learned in the old style. I've been practicing this mostly in the... wait, now Perez needs a one-stop run. So a bit of an early run, probably 12. But I could probably do this with just one... Oh, wait. It's full tank. Oh, no, it's 16 laps, so it's... 15-16? Can we do it 15-16? Nah. We can probably do it 15-16 if we're just going for fuel with Judovic and then we're gonna switch out tires for Perez. But that's a bit of a risk factor, though I do want to see how that works. We're gonna play conservative with the tires. They heat their mediums up in this high-paced race, so we're gonna be playing soft. I wonder if this is gonna work for the higher performance cars now, and also we have to worry about the ERS as well. And they're off. Ooh! Gansler with a bit of a traffic jam there. Couldn't get past his teammate, Elengard. Judovic is still in the back. Perez jumping up to 15th despite the slower driving. While Judovic is still stuck in the back. There's Beyond dropping down to 19th now. Perez still pushing, but still stuck in 15th with Lormore now ahead of her. Up on top, it's Ramsey and Cardenas. Ramsey having a really bad season all around. Well, he had a bad season all around, but his starting runs in the past 2 races also weren't really something he'd write home about. Here comes Perez, once again blocked. This time it's Lormore. Lormore and Howe now fighting for 14th. With Howe down in 14th. Lormore climbing up and trying to get Carlson out of the way. That's Gansler now in 15th. Ellegard stuck in 19th. Perez trying for an inside overtake and failing. The Silva, Mello, and Funker jumping up 1 place each. That's Concliffe now in 9. Concliffe now 9, rather. Doesn't look like it. Perez might be having trouble for Picerni here, who could be overtaking at any time. We're probably the only other drivers we're the only drivers who are using slow engine mode, but we're not the only drivers using low tire mode, because it looks like the Silva Mello is also trying to keep his tires safe. And now we're ready to push our ERS for a bit. Probably go for auto off now. Auto on, let the drivers use it for themselves. Perez now down to 16th as Gansler gets ahead of her. Now looks like our tire heating is probably a little too low. Might be a good time to go for neutral. So basically the thing about tires, at least from what I read up from some of the guys I've been following up recently, is that Tire wear doesn't really have any major effect on your speed unless the needle hits the end of the uh, these measuring symbols here. So even if you go for low or hard, or low or high, or rather push and conserve, as long as they're not on the extremes, your tires will be doing decently. Fortunately, though, the change in performance seems to be a bit odd up, and it could be random, as you can clearly see here with Perez dropping down to 19th. Jenny, Ellegard, and Beyond now 16th, 17th, 18th respectively. Now it's the start of lap 3, and both of our drivers are now in the back. The other drivers have also powered down a bit and are now using standard mode on their wheels, which means they know that they might have to switch out real quick. Question is, can we just drive it up? And now Perez drops down to 20th as Judovic is now fighting with Ellegard and winning. It's now 18th Judovic, 28th Perez. Meanwhile, Gansler, who was dead last earlier, is now down at 15th. Bichani getting ahead of him. Ooh, that's Ellegard getting taken over. Perez now in 19th. We're still pretty much trying to save tires here and fuel. Might be a good time to push the fuel up a bit. Right, let's go and medium both of our drivers now. Enough saving on fuel. 17 laps to go, starting lap 4. Judovic almost getting past Howe, but Howe got some speed up on that straightaway. And now Bayan gets ahead of Perez again. Perez might be going down to 20th after this one. But she managed to keep Ellegard away. Now all the other drivers are going for ERS. Switching the push back up. Drop down to 20th, Perez has. She still has a decent reserve there, and she's trying to use it on the straights. Not exactly a lot of work to get out of that, unfortunately, as Ellegard blocked her on the inside. Ramsey and Cardenas still on top, but their tires are about to get really nasty. Oof, who's pushing ahead there? It looks like Devorani, Neto, Funker, Chu, and Gans are all going for push-up with their tires here, or rather with their engines. We can't really push our own cars up, because we might risk losing most of the parts that we haven't really upgraded to reliable yet. Now, the start of lap 5, both of our drivers once again in the back. Still no sign of any changes up front, I'm afraid. So I'm not too sure if things could actually switch up here. There's Judovic coming up to 18th again, climbing up to 17th, couldn't get past Hornblad. Now she's blocking Bian, who's currently using up all his ERS reserves. But Bian is now still close, and that's a bit of an overtake. Full power overtake on that chicane. Perez going for an ERS push as well, taking over Ellegard's position again. Up on top, Ramsey and Cardenas are still fighting with each other for first, with Cardenas only 0.6 of a second behind his rival. It's about to switch over to lap 6, and things might start changing here. Ooh, Ellegard with the power there. Not enough energy to boost her, though. And now she's still in the back. Bit of a traffic here in the rear. Judovic has now overtaken Hornblad and Gansler. But the late overtaking leaves her open for overtaking on the other side. Now Perez trying to keep it up. Going for an inside corner at the end of that chicane. Not much effort there as her own teammate blocks her away from 15th. Uncliff with the ERS push as well, but she is now down to 50% on their tires. A lot of the soft tire drivers are already seeing a lot of tire wear. Ooh. That's how with the ERS push, switching in, going within the gap between our drivers. And now Ganser might be coming up for a fight here as well. Tire temperature is starting to look interesting, but tire wear is still pretty decent. Might be a good time to conserve a bit, on the tires at least. We want to make the tires last long enough that we just need one late game switch up in fuel and tanks. Rather, fuel and wheels. And now that's Perez going down to 19th. Hornblatt couldn't use his ERS that much for an overtake on the straights, but taking advantage of the chicane here. And taking advantage of the hairpin and the chicane combination. He has now taken over Perez's spot. Judovic is still second, 16th, Beyond still ahead of her. It's now wheel to wheel for both of the drivers. Judovic now getting sandwiched. Here comes the long straight before the home run again. Perez with the ERS push, trying to stay with the other drivers. Judovic still using her own driving skill and not using the ERS that much on this part. Might see some changes in a couple of laps though. As Judovic coming up ahead of Beyond, and she's back in 15th. Now it's Howe ahead of her again with a significant 2-second gap. Ramsey pushing ahead, trying to stay away from Cardenas, who's only 0.8 of a second ahead behind her, or behind him. And now we're starting lap 8. Still not much of a change from both of our drivers, and I don't see anybody pitting out yet. I guess everybody is going for late game pit out. Judovic now up to 15th. Howe with enough ERs to push her out of the way. Push Judovic out of the way, rather. Now it's Lormore. Ooh, Howe jumping ahead of Lormore and Picheni there. Excellent push up using the ERS there. Now going through the slow slow chicanes before the straightaway, coming into the wide corner, into the S-curves again. Now approaching the bridge, Judovic still in 15th, Ramsey and Cardenas now pushing at each other. They're now wheel to wheel. Very tight lead for Ramsey here. But Ramsey apparently has enough ERS power to keep Cardenas away from him. Judovic still struggling. Ooh, we're seeing some pit lane changes now at the start of lap 9. Mazzoncini has some parts issues to worry about, looks like. And now Judovic is at 13th, Perez is at 18th. Pretty good sign there. Now both of our drivers are around 50% on the tire wear figures, and Judovic has pushed herself a little too much just to get ahead of Picerni. Not much gain ground from that one, unfortunately, as Carlson blocks her way, and she's now stuck in 12th. Perez still in the back, but she's now down to 49% on tires. 8 laps of fuel to go. Ooh, that's Picerni going for an ERS push. Blocked by Judovic and the traffic in front of him. Let's see if that changes. Nope. Judovic kept her block long enough that she didn't get any leads at all, and now Judovic is up to 12th. Trying to fight with Carlson and Etienne there, and there's Ramsey heading for a pit change, conceding the lead to Cardenas at the start of lap 10. And then Picerni getting ahead now. Judovic now up to 10th because of those overtakes, however, which is pretty good for our team, all things considered. We just need to get up to the top 6 so we can get some points, however. Even if we don't get points now, we're still at the top of the table, but it's still pretty low at only 22 points, so we need to climb up the ranks here. Perez still in 15th, Judovic at 10th. I'm not seeing a lot of changes here. We've almost got past there. Glidden in ERS mode is now in second, just 2 seconds behind Cardenas. And now both Ozu drivers are fighting with each other for 9th. Oof, that's Picerni at 8th, Etienne in 9th, or no, Etienne in 10th rather. Judovic trying to stay in 9th. Still behind Picerni though, which is a bit of an issue. Now they've only got 47, 42, and 49% on our tires. Ooh! Good late braking for Drulovic there. Could have kept that, but unfortunately the inside corner was too open, and now she's now down at 10th. I'll make that 9th. And now Drulovic using some ERS to get through most of these hairpins. Fortunately, not much growth there with Etienne blocking her rather. Picerni and Gans are now ahead. Cardenas might be pitting up here, so is Glidden. Judovic has gone for 7th, thanks to a little bit of an ERS push, but Ganser is sticking to her like glue. Devorani Neto How also looking to change up around here, probably in a couple of laps. Just need to get Judovic up to top. Ooh! ERS pushing from both Ganser and Picerni here. Getting some gaps between Judovic and Picerni, big ones this time. Judovic wisely keeping the ERS at bay before the home turn, but now Ganser gets ahead of her. Ooh, who's that going in? Now Judovic is at 4th, and Perez is climbing up the ranks, might jump up to 8th after all those pit changes. Only a couple more laps of fuel to go. We might have to change Perez's tires a bit early, though. Yeah, Perez goes up to 9th. Judovic is at 4th. Everybody else hasn't changed much. Devorani Neto is still on ahead, 8 seconds ahead of our drivers. Might have to push both of them up a bit just to avoid getting the damage from the tire coldness. And now Judovic is still struggling to get into the top 3. Although she's still on top with a +3 to her points here. Perez might go down to 7th if she doesn't get into the top 6. Carlson going for an ERS push here. Getting an overtake over Picerni, who's dropped down to 3rd. Devorani Neto still on top, but he's going for a pit change. Eight laps to go. Only a couple of tanks ready. We might have to switch out soon. And that's Perez requiring a bit of a change up. He's gonna need some speed. No need to worry about parts, I think. Its strategy would be balanced. I know they're pretty tired. I think we'll be okay. Let's see how that works. Perez will have to concede 8th place, though. Well, Judovic will probably run for another. Ooh, that's 2nd or above. She's now within sponsor objectives reach, but I don't know if she can last for another one. That's old Carlson still ahead of her, and Picerni is still sticking to her like glue. We've only got 8 laps to go. Lap 13 is about to end. Perez is still pretty decent as far as tires are concerned. I think we can get some more space between us and the other teams, and then we'll switch out our tires. Now Perez is complaining already. Dang it. Now let's have her drive for another... No, maybe not. Switch her around. 2, 3. Pit conditions okay. Pit strategy. Stick to normal. See if any mistakes can... any mistakes suddenly pop up, and if that's the case, we're gonna have Judovic go for safe. That's Carlson still ahead, but her tire condition is starting to look precarious. Definitely might be looking at changing up soon. If unfortunately Perez drops down to 16th, I don't think she can come back here. Judovic still keeping Pachani at bay, but it looks like that's gonna fail for a bit. She might have to switch out sooner or later. Or she could probably fight to keep some space with them. Gansler now sticking to the top 3, looking to get back into it. He's going for a pit change as well. Standing up, start a lap 14, going into lap 15 here, and looks like Carlson is still fighting for first. 6 laps to go. Our fuel condition isn't exactly up to snuff right now. We probably have to call Carlson's bluff, so we'll play for low. Oh, he's still pushing. She's still pushing, but her tires aren't exactly up to speed. We can probably drive ahead here. There's Etienne right behind. There's a good chance Judovic might lose it here. So let's put Perez in normal, though she's going to be left behind, I feel. Perez might drop down to 5th unless Etienne is kicked out of the top 3, or top 6 rather. I'm not too sure if Perez can actually get back into things here. Judovic now down to 23% on her tires. Gonna pit her in now and switch her over to mediums, maybe softs. Put enough fuel, more laps of fuel on her. Five laps of fuel to go. Let's see if she can run this. We'll keep the ERS to her discretion and see if she's going to make anything out of that. Etienne might be looking for a pit change as well. She's already pushing up forward with her ERS, and her tires seem to be really racking it. Or his tires, rather, seem to be really racking it. Perez jumps up to 14th. Still some work to go for this one. Unless she can get past some of these other drivers, there's no way she can get some scores. And Perez drops down to 5th as somebody else jumps up to the top riders. Concliffe using her ERS to keep Perez away. Now a second ahead of Perez. And looks like Etienne is also pitting in for fresh tires and fuel. We're sticking to normal. I'm not confident we can stay away from... Oh no, we can keep him away there. Oh, Ramsey! Ramsey might have a chance to get first here. 4 laps remaining for both of our drivers. Ugh. That's Judovic going down a bit. Might have to change strategies here now. Judovic using her ERS to try and get back into the top 6 at the very least. And now Gansler is keeping her away. We're seeing some longer runs on the tires at least. Judovic goes down to 9th again as Devorani Neto keeps her away. 4 more laps to go. Can we get back into the sponsor objective again at the very least? Doesn't look like it. But it's always open for possibilities. Judovic goes up to 8th, but couldn't get away from Gansler, who kept the inside corner defended. Now crossing the bridge, approaching the home turn. That's Ganser with an ERS push. She is jumping up in the numbers. We have 3 laps to go, and Jurovic has one hell of a fight ahead of her. Trying to get back into the top 6. She's now up to 7th. Almost, but not quite ahead of Glidden there. Very tight fight here in the mid-pack. Ramsey, Carlson, and Cardenas trying to stay up and ahead of everybody. And now Jurovic drops out to 8th again. Oof, couldn't get past there. Good push on Glidden using the ERS at the last second to keep Jurovic out of the way. Perez has climbed up to 12th, but still needs some more fight in there with the last 2 laps coming up. Cardenas going up to 3rd again. Ramsey with an early push-up. Jurovic still having trouble getting back into 6th. 2 laps to go. Even with the poor performance here, we might still be able to stay on top scoring-wise, but not much else. Ooh, that's not good. Overtaken at the last second there on the home turn. At least she managed to recover, but she is now well behind everybody. Coming out to 7th there. Just needs to get back into standing runs. But we're definitely going to miss our sponsor objective here in Dubai again. I think we kind of went for a very late, what do you call it? Very late pit change, which isn't exactly a good thing. Now we're approaching the final lap of the race. Can we at least get back into the top 3? We're definitely not going to get the sponsor objective now. And it looks like Ramsey is going to win this. A bit of a disappointment since we were doing so well, but I guess the late pit change was a bit of a problem. Especially since we were pretty far, and our pit crew isn't exactly up to snuff compared to... Ooh, Ramsey's already losing some power there. Compared to Vexala and probably Dragon Race team, we have really poor sponsors to work with. Now let's see if we can get something out of this. As looks like Ramsey is now powering down thanks to the tire problems. Well, it's everybody with ERS there. Nah, we can't get into the top 3. And it looks like Perez will not be happy with that result. Stuck at 8th. We got 1 point up, but Firebird is now within 1 point behind us, which means we really need to do better in the next race. Now we gotta stop. We gotta stop at the right time so we know how to roll. I guess a mid-pack or mid-road change would have been much better than this. Since it looks like we can actually, I think we can actually do it. We can actually do a mid-race stop here. So let's see if we can actually go ahead with that. Like, everybody else seems to be having trouble keeping the tires okay for a long race, so we can just do one race mid-pack. And then not much to worry about elsewhere, so... Let's try that. I was just trying to see if doing the same tactic I had with my personal save would work with these high-ender, or rather late career change saves. But I guess since we're using much more powerful vehicles and better fuel, trying to be a little conservative was a bad idea. So let's try to be a bit more aggressive now by switching at 11-12. Most of the other teams seem to be going for fairly early rollouts, which isn't exactly a bad thing. I think we can do much better than that. We just need to remember the part specifications we did with our cars before we go ahead and drive. So it's mostly here and then a bit here. It's here. Tight choice, medium still. The lane that will also need to be a bit too tight. Somewhere around that general area. Switch to mediums. And then go and practice. Same stints. Let's see if anything changes from this one. Or for fast practice, since we need to get that thing done right quick. Then we'll stick to 11, 12, rather, yeah. Or 10, 11. 10, 11 or 11, 12? 10, 11 might be much better. Since I think both of our drivers, or both of our main drivers can at least handle the situation a bit more. Ooh, sorry, did I press that wrong? I did. That can't be right. Interesting change there. Anyway. Handling and aero seems to be decent for both of our drivers right now. That set of hairpins right after the starting line is really my main cause of concern, because that's where most of the overtakes happen after a pit stop. Since you kind of switch out to slow pretty early. Like, out of the straight, you make that quick chicane, and then the hairpin here, a series of hairpins, can be deceptively tight. Alright, we're keeping our numbers for now, but I think Elgar is going to switch out and become the top scorer for the timesheets for now. Yep, there he is. Oh, Jurovic says no to that, snatching a 200ths lead over Elgard at 1 minute 47:90.91. Bit of a tight lead, that. And Rio Leonette seems to be having a punch at the pie as well, or a piece of the pie rather. Gans are stuck in 8th. Rio Leonette with 2 purple sectors now. Snatching 2nd, however, finishing just behind her teammate with a 1/10 of a second difference. Bit of a close fight between both our main driver and our reserve driver here. Not looking too tight for now. And that's that. They're going in for the pit change, they're going in for pit change after their stint. Let's see if they're gonna get anything done next. Surprisingly, their setup knowledge is still pretty low. Or the active knowledge, at least. Setup knowledge seems to be standard medium, so we gotta change it up as soon as possible. Oh. Changed up right as they approach the pit line. Ooh. I think I can get Jurovic some more speed. I think. Should be enough. Same tires, keep them running the same line. We can adjust downforce on audio lane for a bit. We're lucky we hit the numbers right quick there. Otherwise, we'll have a harder time trying to tune this up a bit. Okay, let's see if this works. Just a slight nudge to slower top speed. At least we got our setup fairly fixed up, so if things don't go well in this one, we can just revert to the original setup we had at the start of practice. Now that's both of our drivers on top of the standings. Now we'll have to make sure that the pit crew can keep up as well. So we're going for a mid-race change and not much else. Yeah, nah. Judovic needs to come back to her set. Putting too much balance on speed was a bit of a bad line. Ellegaard unfortunately was unable to stick it up, and he is stuck in third. Two-tenths of a second behind Judovic there. Gansler in fifth again. 4/10 of a second. That's Hornblad. Judovic. Well, I do hope we do have it nailed, because I don't feel confident now that we had trouble in the previous run. Let's see if this could actually work much better. I'll use the previous one. I mean, better handling maybe? I think I'll go with 3 greats over 1 excellent. Switch back to mediums. Fuel option should be the same. Whoa. I guess it's a bit on the red. Just speed, just sludge. Fuel options should be the same. Switching tires to medium so that it doesn't blow up. Keeping the same fuel, so it'll be a bit faster to switch them up. Keep the tires in conserve. I think we're decent enough with just normal fuel burn, so no need to either be conservative or be a bit pushy with the engines. Let's see how things go. Lights out, and away we roll. Oof, bad start from Judovic there. Couldn't get the acceleration right out. I guess the setup was wrong. Perez drops in 19th as Gansler gets ahead of her. A bit of a break on that hairpin, causing some traffic, but giving Gansler the opening, or rather giving Ellegaard the opening to jump up to 16th. Now Dennis and Ramsey still on top, with a 1-second gap between them. Let's see if they will have the chance to repeat the feat they had with the original run we had of this. Just waiting for the lap kickoff so we can use the ERS. Probably, we're going to use the ERS just to keep in pace with these guys, and then after that, we'll let the drivers handle the ERS on their own. And we just need to get both of our drivers topped up with new fuel and tires around the middle part of the race, and then they can handle everything on their own as well. Ooh, Perez pushing up there pretty early. Here we go. That's everything. Still sticking with both, with most of the traffic at least. So that should be enough. And now that's Ramsey on fourth. Devorani Neto jumping up to third, but he got blocked by Chu, and he's now just down to sixth again. Not much of a change here in the back, but Concliffe is now down to 18th after a devastating drop thanks to some of the ERS-powered overtakers. Carlson also pretty low, so is Etienne. Hornblad and Gans are having a bit of a 1-2 exchange over on 14th and 15th. Perez trying to get past Concliffe, but Concliffe is having none of that. Keeping her away just before the bridge. Too bad the inside over there right after the bridge seems to be a little more open. Ooh, almost kept it up on the outside overtake just around the end of the home corner. But Perez manages to snatch 18th still, using her late braking skills to their utmost limits on that one. Gansler and Etienne are now just sandwiching Hornblad, who's down in 15th. Up on front, Lormor. Ooh! That's not good. Lormor made a big mistake on the crash out over here. At least it's not super crashy. But she's out of the race for the time being. Wonder what happened. Now Perez at 17th and Drudovic down at 19th. Concliffe blocking Drudovic and keeping her away from her teammate. Carlson also doing an excellent job keeping Perez away from the 16th spot. Now Beyond drops down to 9th. Cardenas and Glidden are now fighting for first. Ramsey drops to 5th after some sort of mistake there. Didn't see much from the back here. Perez trying to keep Concliffe away, but it's only a matter of time before she gets overtaken again. 17 laps to go. Now it's time to push our tires a bit more again, as the tire temperatures are starting to get really nasty. That's Perez going into 17th again, keeping Concliffe out, but Concliffe is only 0.3 of a second behind. Drudovic still at 10th. A lot of mid-packers using their ERS to get a getaway on the straight lines out here. Not much of a change on the slow S-curve, though. And now traffic is starting to open up just before the big turn in chicane series. Ganser now up to 10th, getting ahead of his teammate, who's just 4 or 0.3 of a second behind him. Both of our drivers still in the back and just crossing the bridge. We haven't even reached the top of the box yet. With 16 laps to go, things might not change much here. Carlson dropping steadily down to 16th for some reason. Vicenni also getting overtaken by Etienne. Elagard still at 11th, Ganser at 10th. Most of the guys up front are using their softs. Question is, will they be able to keep it rolling like that? Drudovic using her ERS to get ahead of Concliffe, pushing her ERS a little further, but couldn't get past. Ooh, never mind. Perez left her inside open, and now Drudovic is ahead of her. And now they also overtake Carlson. Both Watson Industry drivers now wheel to wheel. And now we got the Ozu drivers ahead of both of our drivers. Perez trying to use her ERS to get ahead there, just blocked by Ornblad. But she did get past both of the Ozu drivers just before the start of lap 6. Let's see if she can actually do something better here, as she is now fighting Hornblad again. And now there's Eligad just a couple of milliseconds ahead of her. Ooh, Etienne with the ERS overtake. Dropping Perez again to 14th. Drudovic still in the back. And Drudovic still having trouble dealing with Carlson because of that blocking. Now it's Hornblad that gets behind Carlson. Perez now sandwiched between the Ozu drivers. She might lose it. Oof, couldn't get past Etienne on that one. But she uses the chicane to get some space. She is now up to 13th. Howe is now ahead of her, but Howe is a second ahead and gaining. Crossing over the bridge now. Drudovic still at 17th. Well, no, she dropped to 18th as Carlson gets back into the head of things. And now we're starting lap 7 with only a minor change in the standings for both of our drivers. Now it's Mazzoncini fighting for first, but his tires are about to go. Going a little too fast there for the Italian. Or the Argentinian, rather, and he has parts issues to worry about. Drudovic still stuck at 18th. Carlson doing an excellent job keeping her away. Howe now climbing up against, or fighting against Beyond, but couldn't get past Eligard, and he drops down to 12th again. Drudovic has gone up to 16th, but having a bit of trouble getting close to her teammate. There's Perez with an ERS push. on the large corner. But Elegard blocks her before she can take advantage of that. Ooh, going for an inside corner here. Perez trying to get past two drivers, but only getting past Elegard. Howe keeps her away. And now Howe is going for another ERS rush just before the chicanes. And hairpins. Drudovic still having trouble getting past the Ozu drivers. And now that's Picherny keeping her away from the top 15th. Chu has jumped up to 3rd. Howe and Beyond still fighting with each other for 10th. Now Drudovic drops up to 17th as Ornblad comes back up. Perez just about ready to jump into the top 10. Not quite so, because Elegard and Devorani Neto kept her in the traffic jam. Too much traffic on the inside for that corner. I don't think she can keep the 10th place spot here, as Howe is still blocking her, and Devorani Neto is also keeping the inside lanes blocked. Perez drops down to 11th again. Ooh, somebody's in the pit lane. That is Mazzoncini and Chu. Wait, no. Yeah, it's Chu. A bit of a switch up there. Chu was already in the top 3, but something must have happened that required him to switch down for a pit stop. Now there's a mid-pack traffic jam here. Drudovic taking advantage of the chaos to jump up to 13th. Just about ready to switch our drivers over. Too bad we can't keep the tires for longer, so we'll just have to hope that we can buy enough time to get ahead using full fuel and a different set of tires here. Meanwhile, Perez gets a 9th place snatch up ahead of Howe, who had trouble getting through that series of chicanes there. Now, Perez has her eyes on Beyond. Beyond, meanwhile, looking to get over Funker. Using the ERS a little too late there on the approach to the home corner seems like a brave move, but it somehow led to something, as Perez is now up to 6th. Drudovic is still in 10th, trying to keep in pace with Etienne, who has just pushed up with an ERS stop, and now we are in the middle of the race. Let's see if we can switch up somebody. I think we can go for Perez and switch her over to softs, maybe? Now let's go stick to mediums, and then... not much of a change there. We're gonna be sitting up with Drudovic here. Ooh! Looks like even Beyond is also looking for a tire change, but his condition's a bit worse for wear. Now Drudovic trying to get ahead of Howe, who is using engine speed, or normal engine speed, to stay ahead of the Swede. Both of the Ozu drivers still seem to be in the fight for a few more laps yet. Now Drudovic using her ERS just across the bridge, see if we can change with anything. Yep, that gets her ahead of both Howe and Etienne. And now Drudovic will jump up several places to 5th, as a couple of drivers have gone for a pit change. Perez drops down to 13th just before the switch up. Seeing like there's much of a change there. Now she's down to 14th, but she gets ahead of Chu, who was pitting in earlier. Now we switch out... We switch out Drudovic, give her a couple more fuel tanks. Not much to worry about as far as parts are concerned. I think we're good. Now we just need to get ahead of everybody else who have changed for a pit line. And then we can just go ahead and drive normally, while everybody else in the back will try to switch up around the later part of the race. That's Cardenas for a pit change. Looks like she still might have a chance to roll out here. Perez is still way up in the back at the start of lap 12. Ooh, that's Judovic and Perez in the mid-pack. I think we're in a good spot for both of them. We just need to get back into the push of things, get ahead of these guys, and stay ahead of the ones in the back. De Silva Melo still keeping Jurovic at bay. The ERS providing some excellent fuel-saving bonuses for both of our drivers, at least. Mazzoncini now way in the back, a 35-second gap with Gansler. Jurovic still having trouble keeping up with Chu here. And she's also trying to keep Glidden away, and failing. Glidden is now up to 12th. Jurovic needs to get in the head and get her head in the game if she wants to stay in the lane. 8 laps to go. We're starting to see some people on the pit lane now. Elegad has gone for a pit change and is also having some parts issues to worry about. That puts Perez and Jurovic 1.1 stage up for both. Now just a couple more drivers up front that will need to switch out soon. Jurovic drops down to 12th though, as Glidden gets ahead of her again. And Chu is still keeping both of those drivers behind her, or behind him. Showing his veteran's chops as one of the older drivers in the ERS. Bit of a big gap between Perez and De Silva Melo here. De Silva Melo trying to push up with the tires, but having some trouble keeping the brakes away in the chicanes. Now, Jurovic still fine with Glidden. Having a hard time keeping at it. Start of lap 7. That's Hornblad, Carlson, Corncliffe on the change-up. Now Perez is up to 6th. Jurovic is up to 9th. Just a bit more and we can be back in the top 3. Both of them, that is. Maybe it's a good time to go and push. Jurovic is now sandwiched between both Glidden and Hornblad, the Garuda Racing drivers, trying to keep the current race leader away from the top 6. And Glidden with the ERS push there, nearly getting past Chu, but well and blocked. Perez still having trouble dealing with De Silva Melo. Cardenas is up in 4th now. Six laps to go on front. That's Jurovic going with an ERS overtake just before the bridge ends. Going up to 8th, and now she's behind De Silva Melo. Perez up to 5th. Oh no, that's Jurovic. Ooh! Bit of a traffic jam on the way out there. Jurovic definitely needs some work to get out of this top 7 lineup. A bit of a traffic in the mid-pack is not exactly doing wonders for her right now. Ooh, De Silva Melo seems to be having parts issues. Unless he gets back into the pit lane, he might have to retire. Ooh. Meanwhile, Jurovic has finally broken free from the Garuda drivers and is now trying to get away from everybody. But she is 5 seconds behind her teammate after that pit change. We got Ganser on a pit line change now. I wonder if we can get out ahead of her. Ganser might be getting out of the pit lane. Yep. 5 laps to go, and Ganser is now pushing forward heavily. I don't think Perez can keep Ganser away. Ooh, De Silva Melo slowing down significantly because of those parts issues. He is now down to 4th. I still have no idea if Jurovic can get back into the top 3. But she needs to be there if she wants to get or keep her top spot decently. But Pichani's still ahead of her. But where's Pichani? Pichani's on top, but there's a good chance she might lose her spot, as she is now very close to losing her tires, and she is going for a pit change. Here's Perez. Trying to keep the Silva Mello out of that. And then there's Cardenas on top. 4 laps to go, and Cardenas is still pretty decent. I don't know if she'll be able to keep it up, though. She's pushing herself a little too much. Now, Judovic has gone up to 5th with the ERS push as well. Some of the other drivers are suffering from some parts issues as well here. Looks like Etienne might have to retire if things go out. He's already gone down to low on his driver settings. Perez still has a good chance to snatch first if she is lucky here. But she needs to keep Gansler and De Silva Mello away if she wants to live. Not much of a change on this one, unfortunately. Judovic is still 13 seconds behind the leader, having a hard time keeping in pace with both Gansler and De Silva Mello. She definitely has her work cut out for her now. That's Cardenas with the fastest lap of the race so far. 1 minute. What was that? I wasn't paying attention. Okay, the center says, where's Cardenas? It only says fastest sector. It doesn't show the actual time record. Strudovic getting a personal best of 1 minute 48.99 in the race. Still having a lot of trouble getting into it. Mazzoncini once again in the pit lane, way behind everybody else now. Silva Mello now still in 4th, but about to be overtaken. Gansler is in the pack and really pushing it, trying to get back into the top 3. Everybody else seems to be trying to be a bit more conservative with their parts. And now Judovic is up to 4th. She just needs to get past Gansler, and it'll be another 2-3 finish. Cardenas, though, might snatch this win here, unless she suffers from some sudden parts issues out of nowhere. She's now down 43% on her tires, though. Really good chance we can still snatch 2nd, but there's Gansler really getting close here. Not exactly a good look for Perez, who's now only 3 seconds ahead of her. And she is apparently having parts problems with her suspension? What? Right, we're using the ERS to get Gansler out of there, or get Judovic out of there. Perez, dang it, I keep messing them up. Judovic needs to get over and get past Gansler, or we will lose our sponsorship objective. Perez now trying to relax a bit as her tire, or rather her suspension, is a bit dodgy. Fortunately, Cardenas is 4 seconds ahead, and I don't think we can overtake her at the start of lap 20. So unless we manage to look out and Cardenas suddenly suffers from some parts issues, we won't be able to do anything. Time to make the magic work, I suppose. Judovic is just too far behind. I don't think she's gonna make anything out of that. But at the very least, if we can keep Gansler away, there's a good chance we can keep Firebird down for a bit as far as team standings is concerned. But I think this is going to be a much more decent finish, and one that we will have a good boost to towards the end of the season. Perez getting another podium. Fortunately, Judovic couldn't get in there. I have to say, that was a bit of a nail-biter, especially with Gansler just stalking Perez there from behind. Nonetheless, I think this is a much better result than the previous run, and I think we're set for the rest of the season. Congratulations to Cardenas, though, snatching the win, despite the fact that she did have some early knockups there. Ooh, poor Mazzoncini at 69-second gap with Cardenas. Not exactly a good spot for the Argentinian, who seems to be the butt of jokes this run. Let's see what went wrong in our pit change. No mistakes, at least, but our pit crew is still pretty low as far as speed is concerned. And Cardenas also did one stop, but she did it a bit later than Perez, so that gave uh, her a bit of a push, since she has a better support staff assisting her with the car, unlike us who have second to last in the pit crew lineup. No rules broken. Ooh! We managed to snap a fastest lap bonus. That's a first. That gives Perez an extra 2 points, keeping her even further ahead of Gansler. That's a very interesting finish. That's Perez snatching second for the podium. Not exactly a bad look, all things considered. And now she's pretty much tied with Gansler for second, although she's lower in the standings because Gansler is higher in the overall race results. Who's down on bottom? Ramsey, unfortunately, still has no points. Both of the Dragon Race team drivers currently suffering from some poor maintenance, but Mazzoncini has it worse because he seems to be having the worst car. It's because he's a number 2 guy. Both Ozu drivers are at 8th and 9th right now. Firebird drivers in the top 5 at least. Carlson and Bian snatching 6th and 7th for Vexala. And the other Zampelli driver, Henderson de Silva Mello, rounding up the top 10. We are now 13 points ahead of Firebird MRT here after 3 rounds. You're pretty close. Your girls, you mean. They're both women. I don't have any male drivers right now. Cliff thinks that's a good result. I guess it is, all things considered, especially since they had a lot of trouble keeping up with the Ozus. Well, let's see what else we can whip out. Came second. Expected results third. Leo Lanet still needs some more practice, though. He's already max fit, while Judovic is max consistent. Marketing still needs some work. And we got our money back, 1,467,000. Why is it euros? Ugh. Oh well. Up in the World Motorsport Championship, Mitsuki Naito scores 1 for Steinman, and his teammate Chica Balcazar scores second, while Rezato Corza rounds up top 3 with Dustin Nuilo scoring 3rd. Well, that's Amachi. Amachi in the World Motorsport Championship. Very lucky for that Australian. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like she has a lot of points right now. She's stuck in 8th, just behind Makarova from Windsor. Up in the Asia Pacific Super Cup, MRT Valbuena scores a win in Doha with Neil Dawson scoring 12 points. Keyta, who were demoted to the AP. Oh, no, they're not demoted. That was a different playthrough. Well, Keyta manages to snatch 2nd with Kiles, and then Octane, which I believe were originally from below, from the European Racing Series, finishes a 3rd with Cyril Bossu. The gaps still amaze me, to be honest. I know they're just simulated numbers, but still. 46 seconds behind and still scoring 3rd? Why are they riding bicycles? Ribeiro at 20th, still no points. Lucatelli just got in, but they got 1 point in at least, with Tolfik getting 2 points and sitting at 12. This is probably one of our first fastest lap bonus runs, using the ERS to get her out. Oof, our pit crew went down to 10th again. Guess we need to switch out some of the pit lane guys. Maybe we should vote for simultaneous pit stop so that things could go faster. Yeah, a bit of a drop there. Yeah, sure, what do you need? I'm gonna drop their marketing. My marketability is already bad. I want everybody else to have trouble with that. We broke our previous pit stop record. That's good. But yeah, we need to change our pit guys. Let's see. Who do we want to... Do we want to hire this guy? Still have a lot of space. Anybody we do not want to hire? Front jack, tires are poor. Rear jack is poor. Refuel, not quite. I think I'm gonna reject you. Good with fixing, but he's awful in fuel. And really not good with rear jacks. Just about right for tires and front jacks. But he's got a 0.2% mistake chance, and his stamina isn't up to snuff. So I'm gonna reject you as well. Okay, that's a fresh line. Pit crew 28. We're still in dead last though, mostly because of the performance of our pit crew isn't exactly up to snuff. But well, let's go and delete some of these extra saves. And save this guy over here. Well, the way things are going, I might be only able to do one more race today before I have to call it in for the night. Test track. $12 million for a test track. Test track upgrade, that is. Probably not now. Maybe when we get our marketability back up from 69.7. Okay, who's going to be our new sponsor? Repairing both cars, improving parts, 14 days before the race. Yeah, that's good. It's good enough for me. After that, we'll improve the supports on. We'll improve the reliability on the spec parts. Should be able to handle that. Yeah, because 80% spec for the suspension really killed it. Nihon. Nah, let's see if we get any more sponsors. One more offer. Golden Tiger. Maybe there's gonna be one more. Yeah, one more sponsor there. And we can now get the reliability up on these guys. Okay, that should do it. Cardenas looks like she's looking for another team. She's pretty young. I think this is her first team, right? Oh no, she was with Ozu for most of the 2027 season. And then she switched over to Zampelli for this season. She got a podium and a win, but it looks like she might want something else. Her morale isn't exactly up to snuff for some reason. Mostly because she didn't really get good results in previous runs. Understandable, really. Big Doe, Golden Tiger, Nihon. Okay, if we don't get any more sponsoring offers after this, I think I'm gonna go with Golden Tiger since they're the only ones that have a decent upfront payment, all things considered, but we're not gonna pick them for sponsor bonuses. Sponsor appeal level is really annoying. Both of our drivers are still a bit low in the marketing line. 30%. Perez can't go up from 79. Rio Leonette has has better marketability, all things considered, but she's not exactly a good spot for a replacement should Perez go down, since Perez still has the higher marketability and has a lot of good driver traits we can use. So I'll probably have to renew Perez's contract still, unless we can get somebody in the scout lanes that might be a bit more decent. Like, look at Daniel Garcia. No, he's only smart. But his marketing boost is great, 86%. There's Gomez, who we used to drive with. Oh, wait, no, yeah. He used to be with us, but I kinda let him go after one season. And he joined Silva Racing afterwards, but he has not gotten anything since. After his one run of decent driving in 2019, 3 podiums out of 12 races, but not much has happened since then. Marketing boost is only at 51 though. I still use Gomez in the other driving, rather in my personal run, mostly because I still need somebody who's good at marketing, and he somehow lucked out and got a decent amount of marketing bonuses in his driving traits, and that's what helped him, or helps me, get more money out of him. Oh, was he a reserve? Yeah, he was probably reserved with the ERS. Mentor? Mentor? Oh, because he's already on the way out, I see. That's why his skills aren't exactly reflective of his personal abilities. Jean-Dominique Savine is at 25. Stock car champion, but he's a failed musician. He doesn't have anybody signing him up yet. 18. Marketability is at 45, decent enough. Bianca set out. Ugh, come on, man. Kong Sein, 45. No bonuses. Yon Zavara, 40. He's already pretty much retiring. Wait, he was with the ERS for 2 seasons? Huh. Must be a reserve. Don't see any numbers here. Rebecca Sanjo on party circuit, but that's temporary, but she gets 74% too. Hemi wheelchair 21 doing fast food commercials. That's a boost to marketability, but that's pretty low. Her marketability has a plus 50, which means she starts with a really low marketability line. I'll probably consider checking out the other offers next, or before the season is finished, like right before the season is finished. Here they go again, complaining about the mechanics. I mean, can't you see Jessica Legg is really improving at an excellent rate? What is she complaining about? Maybe I should just improve the staff center at this rate. Improve engine performance for later. Just one stop for this one for now, since we're not really using that. Going to make another illegal engine. Top speed. $8.15. Okay, that should be enough. No need to worry about the money for now. Where's that staff center? How much? $8 million, or in this case, it's listed as euros. The cost per race jumps up to 147. I don't think I can do that right now with the low marketability. Maybe later. Financial management concerns still. Okay, time for a regular roundup of what the paddock has been saying before the race in Tondela. 13-point lead. Charlotte Williams is hopeful of extending that lead, telling us that we need to keep Hugo Cumberland and company in check. 4 races gone. Judovic has expressed delight at how the start of the season has gone. 4 races? What are you talking about? It's only been 3. This is the 4th race. What the heck is he talking about? Confidence in the team is sky high. Ugh. Predicted to finish first. That's a lot of pressure for the team. A whole lot of pressure. Yes, Chairman, I know our money isn't exactly at the snuff right now. Better than nothing right now, to be honest. Feedback needed. Judovic has revealed her interest in the burgeoning world of online racing sims. It's just a great way to practice your overtaking maneuvers, said the 22-year-old who has been regularly competing in online tournaments. She added, nothing can ever replace the real thing, of course, but if sim racing can help my skills in any way, then I'm very happy to do it. Finally, a boost to marketability. It's minor, but it's better than nothing. That should help us get some more sponsor appeal. Yes! Appeal is now up to 71.3. Oh, here we go. Oh, I need her to be better at races. We don't need to worry much about qualifying right now. So I'm gonna need her to be a racer. And here we are in Tondela again. Drivers are still dead last. Our pit crew is also dead last. Now let's save this up for the next run. Perhaps I wasn't paying attention. How many laps was this going to be again? So acceleration is crucial, low speed is crucial, top speed is useful. Don't see anything about the laps. Of course, we're going with Transantarctic again. Should fit some of the new parts now. Okay. Yeah, this is best car part ever. Let's see if Perez can take advantage of that. I know Drudovic can handle herself well, but Perez needs a better car. Kind of a shame we can't get her stats up, because she's already reached the peak of her ability. Guess that should do some numbers for her at least. Now we go to Portugal for the Tonela GP. So it's going to be acceleration over speed. Let's see if we can actually transform some of that. Don't remember how many laps it's going to be, but we will try as much as possible to do it once, turn it into a one-stop race, as is the usual. More downforce over there. Our choice will, of course, be softs. Same goes for Rio Lanat's car. Softer, shorter gearing, and a bit more on the arrows. Hang on. Should be enough. Softs, and away we go. Keep it at 4 stints, 4 lap stints as is the usual. How is there a big gap like that? Only 5 people are wrecked. 6 people are using... Wait, 7. Carlson has switched out to super softs as well. Looks like she's going for speed over durability here. Probably fairly confident in the output of their pit crew. Gearing response seems to be okay. Jodovic is having fun with that. So is Leonette. Or Rio Leonette, rather. Rio Leonette scoring best sector for that one. Jodovic still on top, though. Oh, this might change. Yep, Rio Leonette now grabs first. Jodovic drops to third as Gansler gets ahead of her. And then there's Eligard again. More angle on the wings, got you. Jodovic seems to be okay so far. Angle on the wings, huh? Somewhere around here, maybe. Get a bit harder. Somewhere around that. See if it works. Jodovic still at second with Eligard now scoring top at 1 minute 7.8. Jodovic might need a switch up on the handling here. Downforce is decent, but the handling needs work. Might have to make it a bit harder. Softer, maybe? An extra wing. Feedback not looking too good so far. Both of our drivers now drop down in third and fourth. Eligard and Ganser going one for Firebird. Definitely looking to snatch the win here in Tondela. Okay, we got better downforce for Rio Leonet now. Let's see if we didn't switch up anything for everything else. Now we're using the short course. I see. Ah, come on! Downforce is excellent, speed balance is only good, but the handling is awful. So it needs to be a bit more speed focused, slightly maybe. Then get up. Thankfully, the downforce isn't exactly much of an issue right now. Let's see what we can snap out from the last 3.5 minutes of practice. At least we got all our setup active knowledge to max, so no need to worry about that. Now, the only thing we need to worry about is the weather. Rio Leonet having some decent ratios on her gearing there. No more complaints about the downforce either. Fortunately, it's not showing any boosts to her timesheet records. I can feel that the handling is much better now, thanks. Nope, not much of a change there. She's stuck in fourth, and I don't think she'll be able to come out as we only got 30 seconds left in practice. Let's hope we got the right setup for her. Handling still needs some work, though. Annoyingly. But we do get 2 purples for her, so that might help compensate for the handling loss. So I might be able to change something with the handling once we get back into the races. See what we got. Nope, we're not using super softs. We have 32 laps for this one, but I think because we're going fast, that won't be much of an issue. It's the handling that really needs some work. I can't get it done right. Switch it to softs. Unfortunately, it's 32 laps. I don't think Perez can handle 32 laps unless we play with the tires, so this might be a 2-stop race. 26 laps on the fuel tanks, though, so the first one might be just tires, and then we'll switch over to tires in... hang on a second. Choice... options... driver strats... keep it at medium. Or we can go for high. Yeah, let's go for high. I think we can use the ERS to get our drivers up a bit and help them save. That's Perez in third, Gasser in 19th. And there we go. Bit of a rough patch there. Ugh! Not a good start for Picerni, who ran wide just outside of the starting corner. Now she's 7 seconds behind. The leader is Ramsey. Bunker up to second all of a sudden. That's Etienne fighting with Carlson for 11. Perez just about ready to get overtaken. We're trying to see if we can just keep the tires on steady. And there's Devorani Neto snatching the top speed bonus right now. Let's see if we can keep it in the end. Judovic trying to get past Gandler, but Gandler is doing an excellent job keeping her away. Perez almost got past Gandler as well, but she's now down to 18th with a good defending line from Gandler on the inside. Pichani has come back from the runs there, pushing herself a little too far. And now Judovic is back in 20th. Tire temperature not quite looking too good for both of our drivers. Gonna be a two-stop race, I'm afraid. The one stop is gonna be tires only, and then the other is going to involve fuel. Pichani unable to properly defend against Perez, but Judovic was blocked out right before the start of the home corner. That keeps her away while Etienne is still pushing. Everybody else is on overtake mode for some reason. Probably charging up their ERS. Now let's let the drivers use their ERS for themselves. That's Perez and Judovic climbing up in the ranks somewhat. I'm actually surprised that we managed to stay with this pack, even if we didn't use the ERS at the start of lap 2. I kind of forgot. That's Perez stuck in 16th. Judovic has dropped to 18th, making that 19th as the Silva Mello has now overtaken her, as well as Cardenas. That's both of the Zampelli drivers, I think. Lot of rapid changes up front as far as tire wear is concerned. We're seeing some really quick tire wear on the top 6 right now. Perez still struggling to get past How now. Judovic once again dropping to 20th. Oh! Uh-oh. That's a double crash. Lormore and Mazzoncini both crashed in the same spot. Ugh. Not looking too hot there. Now let's not pit until everybody else has. Let's see, is everybody else pitting? Well, I'm seeing some of them pitting already, so I guess we should. Keep the fuel. We're not gonna pump extra fuel for now. Let's just change tires. Thankfully, all of our crewmen are currently fairly decent as far as durability is concerned, so we'll just switch out the tires. Not much to worry about in errors. Everybody else has switched in, though, so we're gonna be stuck in the back again. If I hear any complaints about pit stacking, I'm gonna blow a gasket. Well, How got left behind in the pit lane for some reason? That's kind of weird. For the safety car. I do not know what happened up there, but I'm feeling that Lormore and Mazzoncini were going a little ham on the accelerator just before the turn towards the home corner, and kind of crashed into the tire barriers. So it looks like Mazzoncini was the one who really crashed into the barriers, and Lormore just kind of got caught up in it. Not much damage on her side. Judovic jumps to 17th. Perez is now 13th. We're going to see some changes in the pit lane, I feel, as Carlson Or rather, Ramsey and Davori Neto might be in need of a switch up. Ooh, no, Devorani Neto maybe, but Ramsey is still sticking it up. Pretty bold move from the Canadian there. It's only the start of lap 6 as we see here. So that's only 2 pit lanes, or rather 2 laps of safety car driving. Temperature and fuel consumption might be having a bit of a problem. There's Devorani Neto now heading into the pit lane. Oh, I see. She can afford that because she has a better pit crew. DRT Autosport being at the top of the class for pit changes. Now, how do we change this? So we got... the weather seems to be okay still. We got 32 laps to go. Ideally, it should be changed between 10 or probably 11 and 21. 11 and 21, usually. So we'll probably have to go for a tire change around the 21 period. Tire change and fuel change. What the heck was that stoppage? Where's Mr. Safety Car? Is he boosting up yet? It says heading to garage. He should be boosting up by now. Excuse me. Alright, there he is. He's starting to speed up a bit. After the chicane, he probably will go for speed. There he is. Looking at the speedos on the other drivers. The moment he gets into the pit lane and starts up, there we go. Hang on. Okay, so it's going to be high and neutral. High and neutral. Everybody else has gone for ERS as well, so let's go and do just that. Perez can't get past everybody and has now dropped to 15th. At the start of lap 7, lots of traffic here in the back. Bumper to bumper driving for all of the cars. I guess it's better than nothing. A mid-pack finish after that one would be much safer. That's Perez trying to climb up to 11th still, but having a hard time staying at it as Concliffe gets ahead of her. Oh no, the Silva Mello and Concliffe. Now she's dropped down to 13th. Dronovich down to 15th. Ooh, good inside overtake on the home corner, and Dronovich comes up to 11th there. But can she keep at it? No. Funker out of nowhere gets ahead of her, and she is now back down at 12th. Oof, good push from Funker there with the ERS. He is now up to 8th. Perez gets ahead of 2 drivers, jumping to 14th, but I don't think she can keep it in this set of chicanes. Yep, she's now down to 15th again as Howe snatches 14th at the slow corner, and now Judovic is behind 2 Garudas at the start of lap 9. I wonder if we can keep both of our drivers close to the finish here. Using the ERS to drive it. Perez is now behind Etienne again. Judovic down to 12th with Glidden keeping her away. Ooh, jumping up to 11th. That's Hornblad going for an pit change pretty early. Did he not go for a pit change during the safety car lap? That can't be right. Yep, there it is. Start of lap 10. Both of our drivers are now in the top 10. The question is, can they keep at it? As everybody else up front seems to have enough ERS charge to push ahead of the other drivers. And Funker is keeping Judovic at bay at a pretty decent pace. Bit of a mid-pack madness there with the Archer BMR units having a bit of a trouble with some of the Silva Racing cars. And Firebird. Oh, it's Firebird, not Archer. And Elegod seems to have parts of problems again. Start of lap 11, both of our drivers still having a bit of an issue here. But they are still in 9th and 10th respectively. Pichani now getting overtaken by Howe. And Judovic and Perez now fighting against each other, while Funker still gets ahead of both of them. Judovic trying to get into Funker's inside corner. Failing that because of the chicane. Let's see if she can do it again. No, still too far. Not a lot of acceleration on the home turn there. Now we're starting lap 12. Bit of a change. That's the Silva Mello goes for a pit change, and both of our drivers get a place up in return. But both of the Silva Racing drivers are still ahead of our own drivers. And now the Ozu driver in Pichani is getting real close. Ooh, Judovic snatching the inside for an overtake. And looks like we have Funker having some problems that needs him to go down on his driving for a bit. That's Chu jumping into 5th. Some of the drivers have also gone into low drive mode to try and conserve fuel, it looks like. I think we should also do the same. Oh, Elegod has some parts issues we can probably take advantage of. Conserve the tires a bit. See if this will be okay. So if we can at least try to get a 2021 with Perez at 20 and Judovic at 21, we can probably keep the tires rolling for just one more stop. But that is going to require some pretty decent practice. Judovic and Perez having a bit of a 1-2 on that one. Thanks to a couple of pit changes in the back, now they're both at 5th and 6th, respectively. Up on front, Carlson and Gansler fighting for first, with Gansler only a second. Gansler being just a second, nearly 2 seconds behind. That's Pichani pushing her car to the limit, attempting to get one over Perez. Good blocking from both of our drivers, though, but unfortunately, that's Perez now down to 7th. Judovic leaving her outside corner open. Start lap 15, now it's only Gansler up front. And Pichani just getting squashed. Although she still has one over Perez. Now let's see if Judovic can keep Pichani away from the top 2. Tire conditions are not exactly looking too hot. Might have to back up the tires a bit more just so that the durability can be preserved for a bit longer. "15 laps," it says, so 17-18 then. Let's go for 17-18. Go for neutral. Uh-oh, that's Pichani with an ERS overtake attempt. Too bad for her. She used it at a very late part of the start end line. And now Judovic is getting some extra space with both her and Perez too. Gansler still on top, 7 seconds ahead, but he's pushing his car a little too much, and he is now down to 33% on his tires. It's 17 18th, right? We're going for Perez first, and then we'll get Judovic in. 16 laps to go. A lot of the other guys have already switched out. Okay, we're getting Perez out there, switching her out. Tires... Oh, wait. Her tires aren't exactly at 100%, right? She's still at 27. She's already complaining about tires. So let's switch her out for this. And the fuel... parts, condition, charge, pit strategy, go for fast. 26% risk. Let's see if it affects her. We conserve Judovic's tires for a bit more. Judovic is now 9 seconds behind Gansler, who's just pushing all the way out there. And now he's down to 24% on his tires, which might not be helpful in the long run. 15 laps to go. Perez drops down to 5th, going down to 7th, possibly going down to the double digits at this rate. We'll have Judovic pit now, and then switch to same one. Fuel options will be that. Parts conditions, okay. No mistakes so far, so I think we can go into a fast pit for Judovic as well. 10 seconds ahead. I don't think we can overtake Gansler at this point. Unless he suffers from some sort of accident, which is very unlikely. There he is with his pit change. He's going to be out before we can even get into the pit lane ourselves. Oh, that was a simultaneous pit lane exit. I don't know what happened. That's Judovic at 6th and Perez at 8th. But we can probably get back into the top 2 at the very least, since a lot of the other guys up front might need a change as well. Let's hope the ERS is going to be enough to keep us driving when the fuel is a bit lower. Hornblad might be looking for a pit change sooner or later, so that's a good sign. 13 laps to go. Still behind us. Perez keeping pace, but might be having trouble getting past Beyond. Hornblad going ahead with it, even though he's now down to a 4th of his tires. Gansler really pushing it up now, and he's now in 3rd. Still need a little more work. Perez needs to jump up soon if she wants to stay in the top 6. Or rather, stay in the top 4. Lap 21 starts, 12 laps to go, and both of our drivers are still in 6th and 8th. Gansler still in 3rd. Oh, that's Hornblad going for a pit change. Now that puts Judovic up to 5th and Perez at 7th. Dang it. That keeps popping up. Judovic having a hard time keeping pace with Etienne. Ooh! taking advantage of Etienne slowing down because of the ERS push, keeping him a little too far out, Judovic manages to snatch 4th. And now it's only Ganser who's 3 seconds ahead. Not exactly that far, but not that close either. Let's see if she can do something out of this. 11 laps to go. A lot of things can still happen here. Perez still stuck at 7th, but the Silva Mello might be ready to jump over her. 3 seconds behind. Carlson 17 seconds ahead of Judovic here. Well, let's see if we can see anything from here. Dennis keeping her engine at low by the looks of it. Seems like she has some engine problems that she's trying to avoid. Ten laps to go. Not much of a change, but Cardenas is now going for a pit change here. Carlson now ahead. Ganser on 2nd. Still a lot of stuff to work with. Just a bit more and we can get into our sponsor objective. The weather says it's going to be clear until the end of the race, so I think we're okay for tires. Perez having trouble keeping Cardenas away. Judovic trying to keep Etienne away as well, while still trying to keep with Ganser, who's out 5th. That's Carlson with a pit change. Let's see if we can get anything out of that. 9 laps to go. Judovic is now up to 2nd. I don't think Perez is going to jump. Oh, Perez still manages to get a jump out of that. Also going into 5th. Now it's only Ganser up ahead. Let's see if she can get back to Ganser's position here. It says 9 laps to... Oh, that's Etienne for a switch out. 9 laps to go? Yes, it is. That's Carlson now closing in on Perez, who's going to drop because of some speed problems. And a little bit of an open inside corner there. We'll have to see if Ganser will suddenly have some surprises up in store here. Perez jumps up to 4th after overtaking Etienne and beyond. Ellegard having some parts issues to worry about. Perez now has to fight Carlson for 3rd if she wants to be in the run here. Not a lot of points to work with in this scoring system, annoyingly. 20 points total, I think? No, it's not. 40 points total, maybe. 5 seconds ahead. Ganser is still on 5 seconds ahead as we start lap 26. 7 laps remaining. Maybe we can push Judovic a bit since she's down. She's still up at 61%. That's Funker on a pit lane. Very late pit change for Funker there. He is now in 16th. Ramsey in the back with Glidden here. Not exactly a good day to be Ramsey. Just below 5 seconds, but still a big gap between Ganser and Judovic here as we start lap 27. 6 laps to go. Probably still enough fuel to handle the run. If only Perez can get past Carlson, that would be sweet. Judovic getting some ERS points in around this series of S-turns. Al might be looking for a change-out too. He's already down to this 15% on his tires. Judovic just 4.3 seconds behind Ganser, but she needs to work her way out here as it starts lap 5 if she wants to get back on top. Perez having trouble getting past Carlson as well. Things aren't looking too hot for the Frenchie. And there's not enough fuel to handle most of the messes here. Trying to get the tires up, I suppose. Judovic now 3.7 seconds behind Gansler. 4 laps to go. Let's see if she can take advantage of this in the last 4 laps of the race. Getting some ERS pushes in as well. What the? Something keeps popping off in my background. Heck is that? I guess we went a little overboard with the push out there, so we'll have to keep the fuel low a bit. Three laps to go. Not much fuel for both of them. They went a little overboard there. Gap's growing again. I don't think Judovic can keep up with him. 2 seconds. Ooh, what? No, don't worry about it, Perez. Just a bit of a gap there for Judovic and Ganser. 2 seconds, in fact. 2 more laps to go. Let's see if Judovic can snatch a win here out of nowhere. Fortunately, Perez might have some issues on her end, as her tires are now down to 23%. She might drop here. 2.7%. And our tires are wearing down as well. 1 last lap to go. Let's see if we can make some magic work here. No, I don't think we can. It's only 3 seconds left in the run here. Can Perez at least keep it in 4th? That's the question I have. Nope, we cannot get past Gansler, who gets a 4-second boost at the last second there. But at the very least, Perez manages to score 4th and keep Cardenas out of the top 5. Or rather, out of the top 4. And now Ganser is only 1 point ahead of Judovic in a really tight, contested run for the 2028 season. I think with those results, we're pretty much okay. Bit of a tight squeeze with the tires, though. I have to say, I am fairly satisfied with that result. Could have been worse. Especially since our pit crew isn't exactly right up there to take advantage of any safety car laps, but with just 1 stop for both of them, I think we did really well. Well, 1 regular stop at least. Why is the pit change not listed here? That's weird. I'm sure we had a pit change before we rejoined the... Pretty sure we had a pit change, right? Commentary feed. Some early pits. Where was it? See? Oh wait, no, that's overtaken. Here it is. Yeah, see, we had a pit change around lap 5. Why isn't it listed here? Pit stacking 472. Oh, they had a pit mistake? That sucks. Seems kind of awful that they had a pit change error there. Shame for Ramsey there, getting the fastest lap bonus, but still being in the back. Let's go ahead and see anything from the scrutineering remotes, or reports rather. Nope, nothing on our end. Yeah, Ramsey got the fastest lap bonus, but unfortunately he's still way in the back. Bit of a shame that. 4 seconds. That 4 seconds could have. That 4 seconds could have been worked a bit better if we managed to keep the fuel up. Oh well, we got a little too overboard, so. Well, better than nothing. Second or nothing for this point. But now Ganser has a chance to snatch first in the next race, unless we can keep Firebird out. It's a close fight, that. Too close, in fact. I almost thought Perez might drop too, but she managed to keep her head in the game at least. And she managed to stay in fourth, although she couldn't get an overtake towards the end. Wait, why is... Oh no! This is not good. She's already going down? I guess we'll have to look for a marketing booster next time. Also need a pay driver. Gansler was driving injured, or did he get the injury after this? Nah, I think he got the injury after the race. Still disappointed that we went a little too overboard with the fuel at the wrong time, and now we had to concede the lead to Gansler towards the end there. Sure use a bit more work. Let's see what's on the mail. 40, 37, not exactly good. Okay, what's the interview about? Chidovich is the better driver right now, of course. Ooh, he broke our record. 5 seconds. Pit times are still awful. Should see who we can hire that's fairly decent. Nah, this number doesn't look good. Good numbers, but stamina not quite there. The cost per race is high. I'm starting to see some better numbers in the ability screen at least, so I think we're going decently with Takanabe handling most of the pit stop fixes. Yes, yes. Bosu Asif heal. Judovish. No, he was a. He was a rotating driver. Still need some work on this one. We had one season in the APS and it was awful. engine, the new engine will be coming out in 15 days, and then we can fix up on there. Let's advance this a bit so we can get the car repair done and check on any other final setups for the improvement screen. 16 days for the race. Excellent. That's almost done. Then we can focus on getting the performance boost for our 2 illegal parts for next season. For that, I think we're done. Well, we're done for the night at least. Just need to delete these. Excuse me. Well, I think with that, yeah, we are definitely done for the night. Thank you so much for dropping by. Sorry about the restart from earlier. We just had to make sure we can actually get a better standing so that we don't lose much towards the end of the season. I'm still looking at getting our marketability up, which is why I need as many high points as possible. And Golden Tiger is going to be with us for 8 races. That sucks. Transantarctic is going to leave after 2. Condors after 4. Silverdo will be leaving us after this one. I hope I get a decent replacement at least. With the 71% marketability boost, I think we will have it. But now we have to worry about Perez, whose stats are starting to drop significantly. Not good, not good. Anywho, with how we got our results today, I think we are set for a decent run towards the remainder of the season. Hopefully, we will be able to get through this in the long run and get something done much more efficiently once we start rolling again. Probably tomorrow. We could probably get some stages done tomorrow if I'm still not in the mood to do some drawing. I was supposed to do some drawing streams today, but I kind of had to defer in that because I wasn't feeling up to it. I don't feel I was I didn't feel I was confident enough to do drawing again, so I had to give it a bit of a rest for next time. Hopefully, when we go back tomorrow and do some more running here, we will be able to get even better results than this time. And hopefully that's going to help us drive even better and get us some better results for our factory, not our factory, our HQ as well. I I look forward to seeing you coming here tomorrow again to watch us do some more race day driving and team management in Motorsport Manager. Anywho, if you got any complaints or valid reactions about the stream tonight, I would really be grateful if you can drop me a line on my Twitter or my Pixiv. If you got a hankering for older streams that have already expired here on Twitch, you can always check the VOD archive linked in the About tab of my profile page and also searchable on YouTube under the same username. That's work with a U instead of an O. By the way, if you're currently checking the VOD, thanks for dropping by. Sorry if it kind of looked like it was only stuck in the same spot, since we did have one restart, which kind of ruined the vibe. At the very least, that's a much better result than we could ever hope to have. So maybe when we roll into the heavier stuff towards the middle part of the season, you can be here to check the stream live. But if you're still unable to do so due to certain circumstances, that's fine. As long as you have eyes on the VODs, that should be good. There's still a lot of other VODs you can probably check out across the channel, so I really recommend you do that. Speaking of the channel, if you got any complaints or violent reactions about the streams, no. Speaking of the channel, if you got a friend who might be interested in the stuff I stream or who just wants to complain about PNG streamers in general, I would really be grateful if you can share my channel with them, twitch.tv/lurk@work. That's all from me for now. Tomorrow, yeah, I did say that tomorrow it could be another Motorsport Manager stream as I try to get my funk out from my drawing block. I hope I can catch you then. Lurk at Work is now RTV, but if you're still in the mood for a stream, I could send you over to somebody who's doing some Minecraft. Relaxing late night Minecraft for some of you. If you're heading out for the night, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Good night for those who are heading out, and stand by for those who are about to be sent over.